NFT fans beware, OpenSea is investigating a $1.7 million hoax. Welcome to the Daily Forkast, February 21st, 2022. I'm Angie Lau, Editor-in-Chief of Forecast, covering all things blockchain. Well, OpenSea's CEO responds after users of the NFT marketplace were among those targeted in an apparent phishing scam over the weekend. We're going to take a look at what's being done to reassure investors and a whole lot more coming up. Let's get you up to speed from Asia to the world.
Join thousands of NFT traders who already start their day on CryptoSlam.
Let's kick off with a look at what's been happening around Asia today. First, South Korea's crypto landscape might be widening here. The country's largest financial group is making crypto plans, and it is a huge signal for adoption. KB Asset Management has launched a committee to develop asset products, including exchange-traded funds or ETFs, and a crypto-themed equity fund. While South Korean banks are currently restricted by local regulations from directly offering cryptocurrency trading services, the committee is actually aiming to be the first to launch its products when regulations change, or if they do, which means the bank is betting that they will change. In the meantime, banks are only able to provide indirect crypto trading services through partnerships with exchanges or custody services like KB Bank's Koda. Of course, we're going to be keeping watch for any change to those regulations in South Korea. Meanwhile, it seems the message from Chinese state media over NFTs may not be getting through. Why? Well, despite criticism over their speculative nature, NFTs issued by China's largest state-owned TV station, CCTV, have appeared on the country's largest online second-hand market, Xianyu, for at least 10 times the original price. According to our count, at least 50 of the Chinese Zodiac-themed NFTs, which were initially sold just last week on Tencent and Alibaba's digital collectible platforms, have since appeared on the resale site. However, Tencent has locked down resales, meaning that until the embargo is lifted, sellers are not allowed to complete any transfers. And Alibaba's ant chain has imposed a 180-day wait before resales are permitted. So anyone bidding will have quite some time to wait. You can find those stories and more at forecast.news. All right, staying in the NFT space, users of one of the world's biggest NFT marketplaces, OpenSea, became the target of an apparent phishing attack to the tune of $1.7 million siphoned from investors. And now the platform's CEO has jumped in to reassure users by starting an investigation. Forecast's Lachlan Keller has the details.
Tokens from hugely popular collections, including the Bored Ape Yacht Club and Azuki, were among those taken to the theft. OpenSea's CEO Devin Finzer responded to the exploit in a tweet, saying that as far as they could tell, it was a phishing attack, and it appears that 32 users signed a malicious payload from an attacker, with some of their NFTs being stolen. A phishing attack is a practice of sending out fraudulent communications posing as being from an official source, with the intent of deceiving users into disclosing sensitive information. Over 640 ETH, or around $1.7 million worth of assets, were hooked, with the NFTs located in a wallet now labeled Fake Phishing 5169. That same suspicious address also made it transactions on rival NFT marketplaces LooksRare and Rarible. The attack coincided closely with the release of a new smart contract system, Werben 2.3, which is designed to prevent a different type of exploit. However, OpenSea CTO Nadav Hollider tweeted that none of the affected orders were executed using the new system, and as they were signed before the migration, they appear unrelated. Hollander thanked all of those who have provided information and says OpenSea will continue to actively help affected users, while Finzer said the attacks appear to have stopped and some of the NFTs have been returned. For Forecast, I'm Lachlan Keller.
Despite concerns over attacks like that, NFTs have proved an unstoppable juggernaut this year, with last week's Super Bowl featuring everything from commemorative NFT tickets to brewing giant Anheuser-Busch, including its Noun Glasses NFTs in its Bud Light ad slots. But just what is this asset class? Is it a utility or a legal right? And who better to ask about the way the world is being tokenized than Henry Chong, CEO of Fusang. Fusang aims to reshape investment markets with blockchain technology, and it is great to have you with us again, Henry.
Great to be here, Angie.
So, Henry, guide us through here. In particular, what do NFT creators, buyers and sellers need to know about their rights? I mean, everybody's buzzing about NFTs right now.
Just like the crypto markets are exploding increasingly onto public consciousness, I think they made up something like half of the Super Bowl ads. NFTs likewise have just skyrocketed in scale and popularity, not least of which is because, at least for now, you don't really need to have identity or go through things like KYC and AML to buy an NFT. And so predictably, the NFT markets have exploded. But what I think NFT investors need to understand is, as I've always said, drilling one layer below the technology and saying, well, what exactly does this token represent? What kind of token is it? Is it an art token representing a piece of digital art? Is it something that gives me legal or contractual rights, a copyright or utility? What exactly am I getting as an investor into this token?
Indeed, the biggest selling collection of all-time CryptoPunks is currently at the center of a legal dispute over copyright. Could this be a concern for a lot of people, and could it be a precursor to tighter regulations and standards?
I think all NFTs really need to start looking at doing one of two things. Either they need to provide legal or contractual rights to an underlying asset, even if that asset is purely digital, or number two, as you mentioned, they need to start providing utility benefits, or ideally both. And I think that's where we're seeing a lot of excitement in the NFT world today. The idea of being able to use them to really empower communities and really draw together communities potentially around a creator or an artist, but also really just around communities of all kinds. There's a lot of press recently about Coachella selling lifetime access passes as NFTs. I think that's a great example of the real promise of NFT. Not just having a little JPEG that I've encapsulated, but actually saying, hey, why not, right? Coachella's a huge and established fair, obviously, but maybe I want to start a new music festival and I need funding. And I look at selling these lifetime passes as a way of getting off the ground. And if you're an early investor into these passes, I'm obviously taking a bet, a risk, whether or not your music festival is going to come off and be successful. But hey, if I'm willing to be an early adopter, I get that benefit of maybe getting a cheap lifetime pass. Again, to me, this is really the promise of NFT 2.0, right? Having real substance behind these tokens.
And finally, I gotta ask you this, Henry. Is the massive popularity of NFTs proving somewhat of a coming of age for digital assets? And where might that evolution go next?
To me, the fact that there's such overwhelming interest around not just the idea of NFTs and digital blockchain-based assets, but also the way in which people are using them to build these communities, as I said, but also how people are using them to fundraise, to say, I've got ideas and projects and communities I want to get off the ground, and I'm starting to use them to fundraise, just speaks to the massive pent-up demand there is for these alternate fundraising mechanisms. It speaks to the fact that it is not so simple to raise funds in today's world as you might think. It's a very traditional and closed environment, and I think using NFTs is going to be a great way to start at looking at disrupting that.
Tokenizing the world one step at a time. Henry Chong of Fusang, thanks so much for joining us today. And that's the Daily Forecast from our vantage point right here in Asia. And we truly appreciate you joining us right here on YouTube. Hit like, hit subscribe, hit that alert button. Monday to Friday, new content for you. We appreciate it always. For more, visit forecast.news. I'm Editor-in-Chief Angie Lau. Until the next time.